Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Monday, November 18th, 2024. As you can tell if you're watching on YouTube, I'm here at the desk alone. Colin couldn't make it this week. It was kind of a short notice thing. Something came up. He couldn't make it. If you listen to last week's Monday episode, you also know that Nathan wasn't able to be here. So we're running on fumes here this week. We've got Ethan behind the camera for the first time in quite a few months. Yep, Ethan's here, so he'll be free to join in on the discussions if he has anything to add. But NFL Week 11 going on, about to wrap up here. Sunday Night Football about to get started. Chargers Bengals or Bengals at Chargers this week on Sunday Night Football. You guys obviously know what happened, but I don't yet. College Football Week 11, very interesting is probably the term I would use. You had UGA taking down Tennessee, BYU falling to undefeated BYU falling to unranked Kansas. A lot of playoff implications out there. Despite what was probably overall a boring slate of college football, was pretty important for the future of the college football playoff, especially when you're looking at SEC scenarios, because a lot of things got shaken up. Still nothing really happening in the MLB, so we're going to go through some of the MLB awards that have already come out. We're also going to go and just kind of list through the all MLB teams, first and second team. And also talk about when you can expect throughout this week, when you can expect each of the big awards to be announced. You got Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, Cy Young, and MVPs still to be announced, and it's all this week. So we'll talk through some of that stuff. And then we'll continue with the college football playoff rankings predictions. So obviously I don't have Colin's prediction, but I do have obviously my top 12 or my playoff picture at least. And then I did have Colin go ahead and pre-screen beer bets with me since he knew he couldn't make it. So I do have that, and you'll have to stay tuned for the end of the show to hear what our picks are for that. But without further ado, I think we will go ahead and get into NFL Week 11. We'll start off quick. Thursday Night Football, obviously you guys know what happened. It's been a few days now. But the Commanders lost 18-26 to the Eagles in Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley absolutely went into takeover mode. It was just unbelievable. Ethan, if you could pull that up on my screen over here so I can see some of the numbers for the Commanders. I know Jaden Daniels, not necessarily the day he was looking to have. 22 for 32, 191, a touchdown and an interception. Jalen Hurts just kind of doing his thing, playing his role, while, like I said, Saquon Barkley took over. 26 carries, 146, and 2 touchdowns. Eckler having a big day in the receiving game for Washington, kind of the biggest thing he's been able to do with that team. The biggest problem was just that the Eagles secondary stepped up big time. They shut down Terry McLaurin. He wasn't even an option to throw to. Zach Ertz was really getting the bulk of the targets outside of Eckler, and Noah Brown had 4 targets after him. So great job by the Philly defense to really step up in this game, and everybody else just kind of playing their role while Saquon took over. But obviously you guys already know what happened in that game. So we can go ahead and get to Sunday's games. Got Packers 20, Bears 19. Big one. Came all the way down to the end, and Caleb really tried to look great in this game. He had a lot of moments in this game. Probably a few of his best throws came in that last drive, but he just is not allowed to win a big game yet. He hasn't earned that gift just yet to win a big game. So, what do you for Packers Bears? But yeah. Yeah, me and Ethan were watching this game, and we go into this last drive, and, Tom Brady's on the call talking, so highly of Caleb and how great he looked in this game and how great he looked at the end of this game. And I was like, we can't sit here and say, like, oh, he won. Like, you can't sit here and talk like he won. He still got to make the field goal. And I immediately just go, it's probably going to get blocked. And up steps Cairo Santos to get his field goal blocked. And the Packers win this game. Jordan Love looked fine. 13 for 17, 261, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Really just a big game from Christian Watson. That man was making unreal catches left and right. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 150. It was unbelievable. He had a couple big gains late in this game that really set up the Packers really well. I know one of them set up one of those field goals in the fourth quarter. So a huge day for the Green Bay Packers to get a win, because that was it was a close one. You pretty well lost that game by the end of it, and you just got lucky enough to walk away with a win. I would still say Jordan Love doesn't quite look his best. He was trying to. I'll give him this. He was trying to look great, and his receivers did a great job in this game. Like I said, he only had 4 incomplete passes. He just didn't throw the ball a lot. Caleb, it seemed like they were trusting him to throw the ball, but your biggest gain of the day came from DeAndre Swift in the running game. He had one huge play. It was 39-yard rushing touchdown for him. Really, the only big thing he did in this game. Otherwise, he was 14 carries, 71 yards, 39 of those yards coming on that one play. So not much going for him in the running game. Caleb had a good day on the ground with 70 yards on 9 carries. But yeah, Packers get a much needed win over their rival Bears, who could use a win as well. Okay, next game, an absolute embarrassment. It was just unbelievably bad. Jaguars 6, Lions 52. Like, this isn't even funny at that point. You just handed the Jaguars their biggest loss in franchise history, a 46-point loss for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just unbelievable. Like, Jared Goff, what a day. He just told everybody to forget about the 5 interceptions from last week, even though they still won the game. 24 for 29. He had as many incompletions this week as he had interceptions last week. 412, 4 touchdowns. It wasn't even one of those Jared Goff, like he had a couple weeks ago, it was like 85 yards, 3 touchdowns. It wasn't even one of those weeks. He was earning every single snap in this game, unbelievably so. David Montgomery, great day on the ground, 15 carries, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. But the big ones to talk about is obviously in the receiving game. When Jared Goff throws for over 400, somebody's got to step up. Amon-Ra St. Brown obviously doing his job. 11 receptions, 161, and 2 touchdowns for him. But Jameson Williams having a career best day, 4 receptions, 124, and a touchdown. That was like the easiest 64-yard touchdown you'll ever see. So, yeah, this was unbelievable. And Jahmyr Gibbs, 1 target in this game, 1 reception, 54 yards. Just everybody, left and right, making an impact in this game was unbelievable. On the Jags side, literally nothing to write home about. Brian Thomas had a good game, 82 yards on 5 receptions, but with Mac Jones in at quarterback, you couldn't expect any more out of this Jaguars offense. And the defense was obviously fucking horrible. So not much to say there. So we'll wrap up that one and head on to Vikings 23, Titans 13. Vikings just still don't look right. There's still something so off right now with whatever's going on in Minnesota. Sam Darnold was fine, I would say. 20 for 32, 246, 2 touchdowns. He didn't throw a pick, which was good, but not great. But really, it's just that Aaron Jones still isn't doing anything. Last week, he left the game early with the hip injury. This week, he plays, doesn't really do much. Cam Akers kind of had, a few moments. I think he ended up getting a receiving touchdown, but he didn't have a good day. Sam Darnold ran in a touchdown himself, but you got to get more out of Aaron Jones. A long of 5 for him on 15 carries is really, really bad. Justin Jefferson getting involved once again, definitely a lot better than what we saw last week. 6 receptions, 81 yards, just doing his job. Jordan Addison finally getting some involvement. He did have 8 targets for only 3 receptions. A little bit of his fault, a little bit of Darnold's fault, but Addison did get himself a touchdown and 61 yards. Nobody else really stepping up on this team, and that was a problem. Obviously, the defense showed up for sure, except for on one play in particular. Will Levis, clip farmer Will Levis, just said fuck it and decided, I'm going to clip farm this week, except it's going to be the longest play in the NFL since 2022. A 98-yard touchdown to Nick Westbrook-Akine just out of nowhere. It probably shouldn't have even happened in the first place. This Titans team is so bad. Yeah, it's great that they got that touchdown as their only touchdown of the game. They can't run the ball whatsoever. 33 rushing yards on 19 attempts, 9 carries, 15 yards for Tony Pollard. 18 of those yards were Will Levis, and 10 of his came on 1 run. It was a horrendous day on the ground for the Tennessee Titans. Jonathan Grenard looked fantastic. Honestly, this whole Vikings D-line was great. They had 5 sacks in this game, number of tackles for loss. So huge, huge credit to the Minnesota defense for how they stepped up in this game. But obviously, with Will Levis at quarterback, what do you expect? Honestly, it's probably a good day for Levis, considering he only threw 1 interception. Let's scroll down and look at the defense real quick. I want to see who got those sacks for the Vikings. Yeah, 2 for Van Ginkel, 2 for Pat Jones, and 1 for Blake Cashman. Just a fantastic day all across the board. Their whole defensive line really, and at least their their outside linebackers credited with the top in tackles, which is kind of crazy. Typically, that's going to your middle linebackers, sometimes a safety maybe, but unbelievable work by the defensive line for the Vikings. All right, let's move on to Raiders Dolphins. Raiders 19, Dolphins 34. I'll give Tua his props. He looked damn good. Now the Raiders suck, but Tua Tagovailoa looked very good. 28 for 36, 288, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He only got sacked twice. Not a bad day whatsoever for Tua. On the other side, not much to be happy about if you're a Raiders fan. Gardner Minshew looked pretty good, but kind of all for naught. 30 for 43, 282, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. The real story for the Raiders is Brock Bowers. He didn't give a shit that that Michael Mayer was back. Nobody else is even a factor in this receiving game, even if they're healthy. Brock Bowers is carrying these guys. 13 receptions on 16 targets, 126, and a touchdown. Just unbelievable. He only had a long of 23. This guy was just doing dirty work all game. And then on the Dolphins side, oddly enough, continuing to be the most consistent offensive piece for the Miami Dolphins is Jonnu Smith. 6 receptions, 101, 2 touchdowns. An unbelievable day for Jonnu Smith. Tyreek Hill having a pretty good day. Finally, with Tua back at quarterback, you're finally seeing some production out of him. He had 8 targets, 7 receptions, 61 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, the Raiders are horrendous. The Dolphins needed some wins just to bring some confidence back to this team. This is a great win. You put up a lot of points. You can be happy about that. Let's talk about Rams Patriots. I don't know why I thought that the Patriots had a chance. And they kept it close. It was a 28-22 final. And really it came down to Drake May had a potential 2-minute warning game-winning drive lined up for himself. He then threw a pick immediately. But he was right there. He was right there. And he had a great day. 30 for 40, 282, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He got sacked 3 times. That's kind of brutal. It was really just that the Patriots defense didn't show up whatsoever. No sacks, no interceptions for Stafford. He was 18 for 27, 295 with 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. All of those points that the Rams scored, all 28 coming in the second and the third quarter. Kyron Williams had a great day on the ground, 15 carries, 86 yards. No touchdown for him because they all came via the receivers. But Puka Nacua, 7 receptions, 123 and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 6 receptions, 106 and 2 touchdowns. Colby Parkinson got himself a touchdown. This is the performance you're looking for out of the Los Angeles Rams, especially on offense. The defense was fine, lackluster at times, and in some spots they just really couldn't get it done. But offensively, these are the Rams you want. We got healthy Matt Stafford. It's so nice when that version of Matt Stafford decides to show up, and here he was. And Drake May, I still think he had a good game. I think he just kind of got outplayed by a veteran quarterback here. That's really what it came down to me. So yeah, shout out to Cameron Kinchens, guy that me and Colin were super high on last year in college football, getting the game-sealing interception. All right, on to Browns 14, Saints 35. What has gotten into the Saints? They lose all of their receiving options to injury and just decide it's fine. We have Marquez Valdez-Scantling. For the second week in a row, he has just an absurd 71-yard touchdown this time. 2 receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown for him. Nobody else really making a huge impact. Taysom Hill had 8 receptions. Taysom Hill really the huge impact in this game. Probably the best player in this game outside of the interception he threw. Yes, Taysom Hill threw an interception in this game. 8 receptions, 50 yards for him. On the ground, 7 carries, 138, and 3 touchdowns. One of those being a 75-yard rushing touchdown for Taysom Hill. It was unbelievable. Derek Carr, 21 for 27, 248, 2 touchdowns. A great day for him. No interceptions, 1 sack. Great day for Derek Carr. Browns defense, the worst they've probably looked all season, I would say. And a 21-point fourth quarter. This game was 14-14 entering the fourth quarter. And the Saints just stomped them into the ground and just kept rubbing it in that fourth quarter. It was unbelievable how they came out in that fourth quarter and just absolutely crushed the Browns. So shout out to the Saints and interim manager or coach. I don't know his first name, but I know his last name's Rizzi. Um, I have no idea what his first name is, and I don't care. Fuck the Saints. All right, next game. I do have to mention Jameis Winston. I forgot to mention him. Jameis tried. He tried his hardest. Maybe one of the best performances I've ever seen out of Jameis Winston in this game. 30 for 46, 395, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and they didn't win. And they only scored 14 points. Free J-Boo. Get him on a team that can actually use him correctly. Nick Chubb, do something, brother. He can't. Yeah, if Nick Chubb actually stepped up and did something in this game, it would have been great. Yeah, look, and I'm not saying he wasn't efficient. It's just he only had 11 carries. This was a game where you were in it the whole time. You could have been running the ball. You just really weren't. And I get it. Jameis was firing on all cylinders in the passing game, but obviously you couldn't do anything in the red zone, so you got to figure something out. So shout out J-Boo, but not his day to get a win against his former team. All right, next game. Colts 28, Jets 27. The battle of the ARs. And who would have guessed? AR won. Anthony Richardson, that is. Anthony Richardson won the matchup between him and Aaron Rodgers. Who, what year are we in? I don't know what's happening. I'm stealing this joke from you, Ethan. No, I'm sorry. Anthony Richardson needed 2 weeks to catch his breath. That's what it was. 20 for 30, 272 and a touchdown. He didn't throw a pick. That's like the most outstanding stat he had of the day. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. If I were Jonathan Taylor, I would be begging to leave this team. If Anthony Richardson is the guy for the future and I'm Jonathan Taylor, I want to get out. He's giving him no opportunity to do anything. That's true. Yeah, he tried to leave. He tried to leave.
He got stuck with Matt Ryan, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did have Matt Ryan. Yeah. That's brutal. But Breece Hall tried everything. He gave it everything he had. 16 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. In the receiving game, also doing a lot of work. Breece Hall had how many receiving yards? Yeah, scroll down real quick. Seven receptions, 43 yards, and a receiving touchdown. The other receiving touchdown for the Jets going the way of Kenny Yeboah. Never heard of that guy. Never heard of that guy in my life, actually. His 1 target, a 11-yard touchdown. Garrett Wilson, 8 targets, 4 receptions, 18 yards. What was that, Garrett Wilson? Kenny Yeboah, 4th-year player out of Ole Miss. 2nd reception of the season. Fantastic. Well, shout out to former Ole Miss Rebel, Kenny Yeboah. Garrett Wilson. Figure it out, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I know Davante Adams came and kind of blew up your spot, but, like, there's really no excuse. You have a legendary quarterback who actually didn't have a bad game. But I'm sure he had some bad throws. But still, not a bad game from Aaron Rodgers. I feel like Garrett Wilson has the ability to get open. I'm sure Kenny Moore was by him sometimes, but I'm sure he had to do his work with Davante Adams as well, and he had a good game. Shout out to Josh Downs, just the best target that the Colts have. The downfall of Michael Pittman Jr. has got to be studied. This guy, last year, unbelievable with both quarterbacks. Actually, all 3. Anybody who came into the game for the Colts, Michael Pittman Jr. was the guy. I don't know if everybody figured him out. And now he's like 5th season in the league. It took them 5 seasons to figure him out, and they finally did it. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe there's too many options in Indianapolis now because now they're actually throwing to A.D. Mitchell, and they get Mo Ali Cox into the situation sometimes. I don't know what the deal is in Indianapolis, but Michael Pittman Jr. is garbage. All right, I think we'll wrap up the Colts there. It was a big win for them. The Jets suck. All right, Ravens 16, Steelers 18. They really just can't be the Steelers. I don't know what else there is to say. Like, typically when a team like the Ravens, how they've taken such a step forward, especially on the offensive side, where I think in past years, I talked about this on Friday's episode. In past years, this Ravens offense just wasn't built to go up against the Steelers defense. Steelers extremely good defensive line, extremely good, free safety in Minka Fitzpatrick. They have great linebackers that could just stop the run very easily, and Lamar just didn't throw the ball enough to stay competitive in these games. Well, now we're at this point where Lamar Jackson is an elite passing quarterback this season. He's the best quarterback in the league right now. Last year's MVP, and this year, not even having to run the ball and looking amazing. Derrick Henry was looking amazing all year. He still had a great game, don't get me wrong. It's just they got into a situation where they had to start getting the ball down the field, and they couldn't do that via Derrick Henry. And I feel like this offense was geared to score points on the Steelers of past years. It's just something about Mike Tomlin versus John Harbaugh. I don't know what the problem is, but the Ravens can't win. One thing, though, is inevitable. Outside of the Steelers beating the Ravens, the other inevitable thing is that Derrick Henry will score a touchdown. 13 straight weeks with a Derrick Henry touchdown. Unbelievable. He also opened the game, opening drive, fumble. So maybe not his favorite day of the year, and not his best game of the season, but he did get himself a touchdown. George Pickens was just throwing himself at the football. Like, there was a couple moments where me and Ethan were like, what is he even doing trying to make these catches? And he would make them. He had 12 targets, 8 receptions, 89 yards. It was just like he was putting his life on the line to try and catch some of the most absurd passes I've seen. It was unbelievable. We also saw maybe one of the worst drops I've ever seen. Zay Flowers on the final drive of the game, where luckily the Ravens still did end up going down and scoring a touchdown. And, we'll talk about the 2-point conversion. But Zay Flowers on, I believe, second down and like 5 or 6, dot to the chest. Right through his hands, hits off of his 2 mouth guards that are hanging off his helmet. I think that might have been part of the problem. It hit off of both. It hit straight through the mouth guards and bounced off.
Yeah, it already hit. He already missed its hand.
Yeah, but you could have at least shielded it in. I think the mouth guard just pushed it off of his chest. I don't know. I do think that might have been a little bit of an issue. But just one of the that ball, and I will say Lamar put some zip on it, but it hit his chest and bounced 5 yards away. It was crazy. Well, yeah, horrible drop for Zay Flowers. He did get a touchdown this game. Yeah, it was that touchdown at the end of the game. But I hated that 2-point conversion call. It just doesn't make sense to me. A designed run to the outside for Lamar on a 2-point conversion in a season where Lamar hasn't had to run the ball very much. I feel like, yeah, Derrick Henry didn't have his best game. I give it to Derrick Henry right there. He had 5 yards per carry in this game. Give Derrick Henry the ball. Throw the ball over the middle to Zay Flowers. Things that were working during the game, do it again. I don't see why you try and switch everything you've been doing all game just because it's the final play and you're trying to tie it up to potentially force overtime. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. You can also be pissed off at Justin Tucker for missing 2 field goals. I know Ethan's pissed off at him. Just what are you doing, man? Retire. He was Mike Tyson out there. He was Mike Tyson in football form. Yeah, old and ass. We saw a lot of Mike Tyson's ass as well on Friday. Okay, yeah, we'll move on from this game and talk about the 4 o'clock games that I am not excited to start with. Falcons 6, Denver Broncos 38. Yeah, about that. I'm actually gonna lose my mind. Watching this team right now, it makes me want to rip my eyeballs out. Nah, right now, not in a video game. I want to rip my eyeballs out watching this team play football. It's actually unbelievable. Bijan can't run the ball. No Tyler Algier this week. Drake London is getting absolutely fucking locked down at all times because everybody knows that they have to or they're going to lose. He had 3 receptions on 7 targets. Ray-Murray McCloud is great for short yardage, but doesn't really do much else outside of that. Bijan is a great option to throw to. All these guys, we have so many options to throw to. And we did have Tyler Algier in this game. I don't know if he got hurt on that play where he lost 1 receiving yard. I don't know what happened. Is that what happened? Okay. But it's just like, I don't get where the issue is here on the offense. You have the weapons you need. The offensive line is serviceable, at least serviceable. Pass blocking, they're fine. Run blocking, they're great. But they're hurt. And Kirk Cousins is doing okay. It's just, he has like a few passes a game where it just leaves you just scratching your head wondering, like, what the hell is this guy doing out there? It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's usually on like a pressure where he's just kind of like, fuck it, somebody's over there.
Yeah, exactly. And it never works out. And most of the time it's an interception.
Yeah. It's like his 1 interception he has a game. And it's just like,
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, it's horrible. On the other side, Bo Nix is amazing. This guy's awesome. He's getting even better week by week. I don't know what the deal was with the Falcons defense. I know we were a little banged up, pretty banged up, but you still have Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons and the whole defensive line and Troy Anderson's back. Like, it should work, and it's not. I don't know what the problem is here. AJ Terrell sucks. I can say that with full transparency. But yeah, Bo Nix, dog, 29 for 33, 4 tutties. It's absolutely unbelievable for Bo. They didn't really run the ball I guess they did run the ball a lot, just not to one guy in particular. Javonte Williams got the sole rushing touchdown for them. Cortland Sutton leading the way in the receiving game, 7 receptions on 8 targets, 78 yards. He had a great day. There was a controversial fumble. Who was it? Lil Jordan Humphrey that fumbled. Jesse Bates knocked it out as he's second straight play. Jesse Bates knocks the ball out on 4th down, and Lil Jordan Humphreys is coming across the field, catches it. Jesse Bates punches it out. It doesn't even look like he got 2 steps. It doesn't look like he really even had the ball that long.
He's going to gather as it's getting.
Yeah, and then it gets knocked out, and Lil Jordan Humphrey just reaches out and pulls it back in, and they called that a fumble recovery and a first down for the Broncos. I hated it. Mike Pereira came on the broadcast, said he didn't like it. Like, nobody thought that was a catch. It was unbelievable. But obviously that doesn't change that much in a 38-6 loss. But yeah, Denver just doing their thing. I said a couple weeks ago, I like this team. It's got to be the right matchup for them. This just somehow was the right matchup for them. Still nothing really happening just yet. Yeah, I could use a Jamar Chase touchdown. Fantasy is not going my way. And I'm playing Luke, so hopefully things turn my way. All right, we can move on from this game. Go to Seahawks 20, 49ers 17. Geno Smith beating the 49ers for the first time in his Seahawks tenure. And he didn't really have a good game. 25 for 32, 221, no touchdowns, 1 pick. He got sacked 4 times. He got kind of bailed out by a Nick Bosa injury that left him out of the whole second half. They didn't score any touchdowns till Bosa left. They had a rushing touchdown by Kenneth Walker, and then Geno ended up running one in to seal the deal here in this game. But the biggest thing here for me is that Brock Purdy looked horrible. Wasn't getting out of the pocket in time. When he did, he was trying to run around too much. A couple times he, successfully got past the line of scrimmage. One of them he slipped. One of them he dove in for a touchdown, which was pretty impressive dive for the touchdown. But I think he's running around too much. I think he's got to be a little bit more confident in the pocket. And I know this offensive line's been banged up. Trent Williams was back this week. The rest of that offensive line looked horrible. Like, they had Brock Purdy running for his life over and over and over again. And it didn't help that he didn't have Brandon Ayuk in this game. He didn't have George Kittle in this game. Debo got the fucking clamps put on him. He just had no options. Like, Jawan Jennings was, the leading receiver on this team. 11 targets, 10 receptions, 91 yards, and a touchdown for Jawan Jennings. He had a hell of a day. It's just nobody else contributed because nobody else was open except Jawan Jennings, and that's the only guy Purdy could throw to. JSN, a huge game for him for Seattle. 10 receptions, 110 for him. DK, 7 receptions, 70 yards. Tyler Lockett was just getting hawked by Fred Warner on a lot of plays, and that just obviously meant he was not going to see the ball whatsoever. Um, yeah, San Fran just looked bad. And once Bosa left the game, which you didn't have him last week, and you were fine, Bosa left the game, and everything fell apart for this defense. They couldn't pressure Geno Smith. For some reason, they couldn't cover anybody in the secondary. I don't know what the problem was for San Fran in that second half outside of Bosa leaving, but everything fell apart. It was brutal, absolutely brutal. Christian McCaffrey is, well, like, just fine, but he can't break off anything big still. That's what I'm noticing. Yeah, he's still he moves a little different. Like, when you're watching him run the ball, he looks a little bit different. He's not quite as shifty. He's not making those, like, little small movements, especially still in the backfield, not making those small adjustments, small movements that let him kind of just like, oh, I'm going to take like one extra step to the right and then hit this hole. It's like really standard running from Christian McCaffrey that we're not used to seeing. And obviously it's because he's limited because he got surgery on both of his Achilles. So I don't know. Maybe we need to see more Jordan Mason. I'm not sure what the answer is for the 49ers, but right now, whatever's happening is not working. Okay. Final game before Sunday Night Football. Chiefs 21, Bills 30. A hell of a game. Just all the way through, a great game. You have Buffalo going up 6-0 in the first quarter. They missed the extra point on a touchdown. Then Kansas City is storming back. They ended up going into the half. Kansas City 14, Buffalo 16. Nobody scores in the third quarter. And then we get a fourth quarter that was just thrilling. Kansas City makes it 21. I think if you pull up the scoring summary real quick, I can't remember who scored first in the fourth quarter. Yeah, you go play by play, and then it should be, scoring summary. So Bills scored the first touchdown in the fourth quarter, making it 23-14. Touchdown Noah Gray from Patrick Mahomes gets the Chiefs within 2 with 7 minutes 53 seconds still on the clock. Then super long drives by the Bills, a 5 minute or 5.5 minute 70-yard drive for a touchdown to take a 30-21 lead. But finally, the Chiefs don't get bailed out. They had a chance to come back and win this game. Tony Romo was on his knees praying for it in the booth. And a big run by Patrick Mahomes that potentially keeps them in this game. It easily sets up a field goal. And if not a field goal, they potentially go down and get a touchdown. But it gets called back because of a hold. So glad this finally, the luck has turned against them. Finally. So many times this season. They haven't had a game settled by, no game settled by more than a score. This whole season's unbelievable. I think I saw a stat before this week. If every one-score game went to the other team, the Chiefs would be 2-7 going into this week. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable game. They didn't get bailed out. It was huge. Josh Allen, game-sealing 26-yard rushing touchdown. Was unbelievable run. Ran right through Nick Bolton, right through Cook in the secondary. Just ungodly. I do want to point out, James Cook is kind of becoming a bit of a red zone merchant. Little bit of a red zone merchant. He's doing nothing in the open field because they're pretty much only throwing the ball, which is fine. Josh Allen looks great, but James Cook had 9 carries for 20 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then, receiving wise, 5 receptions, 7 yards. He was just the bailout guy out of the backfield. I want to shout out Amari Cooper. I know he wasn't the leading receiver on this team, and he only had 2 receptions. Both of his receptions, fantastic catches on fantastic passes by Josh Allen. I'll give him the credit for that. But one of them a 30-yard completion, I think, on second down. The other a 25-yard completion on third down late in that game. Just huge plays both times from Amari Cooper. And with no Keon Coleman in this game, Curtis Samuel stepped up. 5 receptions, 58 yards. He scored the touchdown in the receiving game. Khalil Shakir had 8 receptions for 70 yards. All these guys stepped up. Dawson Knox, shout out to you for trucking the shit out of that CBS cameraman. And I'm so glad it was a CBS cameraman because we then got the angle of the guy getting lit up, which was awesome. If you're a Travis Kelce fantasy owner or better, you should be so pissed. Noah Gray with 2 receiving touchdowns. Meanwhile, Travis Kelce, 4 targets, 2 catches, 8 yards. If I had Travis Kelce, I would be pissed. If I had the same stat line as Samaje Perine in the receiving game, I would be losing my goddamn mind, especially if I'm the greatest tight end of all time.
One of the targets was the interception that sealed the game.
That is true. Yes, one of those targets, the interception that sealed the game, which was thrown to Bernard, I think. Scroll down a little further. Interception. Yes, it was to Terrell Bernard. The other one was Taylor Rapp earlier in the game. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes threw two interceptions. Also, the Chiefs' defensive line, 0 sacks. Crazy. This is a defensive line full of talent. Primarily all-pro, multiple-time all-pro Chris Jones. No sacks. Against the Bills, who Josh Allen likes to move around in the pocket. You should be able to get to him at least once. No. Unbelievable game for the Bills. Chiefs no longer undefeated. Bills now 9-2. Potentially, I would say the best team in the AFC. They've strung off 6 straight. They look fantastic. They're 5-0 at home. And the home field advantage for the Bills only gets better as the season goes on. As it gets colder at Highmark Stadium, it's so much harder to play there week after week. That's facts. Shout out to College Football 25. Yeah, unbelievable by the Bills this week. They've really impressed me. Like I was pretty happy with how they looked throughout the year. This was a really impressive win, especially against a Chiefs team that's just been finding ways to fight back into games and stay in these games and somehow pull off miraculous wins, either via a late flag or a missed field or a blocked field goal or whatever it may be. They find a way to win, but the Bills get the best of them here. All right, has anything happened in Sunday Night Football? Let's see. I don't think so. They're on the 30-yard line. That looks like they could have. We got a Cincinnati field goal. Shout out to Evan McPherson. Monday Night Football is Texans Cowboys. So enjoy that beating at AT&T Stadium. Luckily, the sun will already be down. So no blackout curtains needed. Jerry Jones is such a fucking idiot. I hate him. I really do. It looks like Trey Hendrickson is having his way with the right tackle or the left tackle for the Chargers. I'm not sure who their left tackle is. Doesn't matter though. Yeah, I know the right tackle is Joe Alt. Left guard is left tackle's Slater. Left guard, I don't know who the left guard is. He's the one who's having his way. Holy shit, Herbert. Holy shit, Herbert. Big run. What was that? 25? 15? I can't read or count. What are the stats looking like, at least? I know we're really early into this game, but see if anybody's having a good day yet. That was a hell of a run. Damn. 20-yard run? Yeah. Yeah, nobody's really done much. Obviously, the 20-yard run for Herbert. Jamar Chase off to a good start. I like that. 3 receptions, 47 yards. Chase Brown off to a decent start as well. He's got a reception for 1 yard and 18 rushing yards. So shout out to them. I also need Will Dissly to get his shit together. So Will Dissly, please get to work, buddy. If you're hearing this after the fact, you better have done well. All right, I think we'll wrap up the NFL from there. We'll get some updates on this Sunday Night Football game as it continues. But for now, let's shift over to the MLB. Obviously, the offseason has been just boring. It's been boring. I don't even know. It's been a drag, I guess was what I was looking for. And it typically is. Until winter meetings, nobody's making any decisions. The only updates I have for you is that the Red Sox are interested in every free agent, and they'll sign maybe one of them. And Juan Soto has met with the Mets, the Blue Jays, and not the Yankees yet. Definitely not the Rays. Hold on. Or no, I don't. It doesn't matter. Whoever he met with, he's not going to. He might be a Met. I fucking hope not. I hope he's not a Met. He'll probably be a Yankee. If I had to get, as the way that things look right now, I would say he's probably going to be a Yankee. But I don't know. Okay. So yeah, real quick, we're just gonna kind of run through the all MLB teams, first and second team. If I have any thoughts, I'll give them. I probably won't. I'll probably agree with a lot of it. Um, and then we'll talk about some of the other awards that have already come out, and then talk about the finalists for the awards that you guys will be hearing about this week. So we'll start off all MLB first team at catcher, former Brave, Milwaukee Brewers catcher. Oh, Will Disley touchdown!
Yep.
Yes, yes. William Contreras, you can wait. Shout out Will Disley. What a waiver wire pickup. What a waiver wire pickup for me. Let's go, Will Disley. Big time. Dude, that was awesome. What was that, 28 yards? 29 yards? Hell yes, Will Disley. Fuck off Jake Ferguson, who I had all year and is now pretty much useless with Cooper Rush at quarterback. All right. Well, that just peps me up for the rest of this podcast. All right, William Contreras is the guy I was talking about. The Brewers catcher is William Contreras. He was the All-MLB first-team catcher. First base, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Not too sure how I feel about that. Not a lot of great hitters at first base this season. Yeah, you can maybe argue for Harper. Freeman just had a great season, but yeah, he had a great postseason. His regular season's always good.
Yeah, he always has. He's consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Ketel Marte at second base, literally nobody else to choose from. It was him and Altuve, which are maybe the only second baseman in the entire MLB. There's no telling if he's healthy.
Good every other.
Exactly. So expect him to be around here next year. Him and Matt Olson. They both do that. Coincidentally, both were athletics. Bobby Witt Jr., obviously, at shortstop. Jose Ramirez at third base. Pretty much his job is to be the best third baseman in the league, and nobody cares.
Yep.
Then you go to the outfield, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Mookie Betts, all three World Series participants. Mookie Betts is the arguable one. We'll talk about it when we get to the guy that probably should have taken his spot there. DH, who would have guessed? It's Shohei Ohtani. I'm not happy with the second team for that one either, so we'll talk about it too. Your starting rotation for the All-MLB first team, Chris Sale. Shout out. Go Braves. Only Brave anywhere sniffing this list. Tarek Skubal, which I feel like, is that not just a spoiler to who's going to win Cy Young?
Yeah.
The top two pitchers in the rotation for the All-MLB team are Chris Sale and Tarek Skubal. Pretty obvious. Then it's Paul Skeens, Zach Wheeler, Corbin Burns, which Corbin Burns wasn't even a Cy Young finalist. And Seth Lugo was, who was on the second team.
Yeah.
Not a fan. What? Yeah. It's obviously it's much different. Yeah, BBWA does the Cy Young. Fuck the Baseball Writers Association while we're at it. They suck. Paul Skeens is third, Zach Wheeler fourth, Corbin Burns fifth. And then your relievers, Emmanuel Clase and Ryan Helsley, who were obviously the best relievers in the MLB this season. Then your second team, Salvador Perez, at the ripe age of 34, but looks 90. Yeah, he's still great. 34. He does not look 34. I refuse to believe it every time I think about it. Bryce Harper at first base, Jose Altuve at second. Francisco Lindor at shortstop. Certainly redeemed himself there in the second half of the season. Was probably the biggest part of why the Mets were so good in that second half. Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill, both from the Padres, make it in here. Obviously, Manny Machado at third. Jackson Merrill starts out the outfield. Another team, the best team in the second half. Them and the Mets were the two best, so it makes sense. Jarren Duran is the one who a lot of people would argue was a lot better than Mookie in this regular season, especially as an outfielder. I definitely agree. I think Jarren Duran should have gotten all MLB first team. Potentially due to his controversies.
Hey, he missed 2 games, which he still had more than Mookie.
That's true, but maybe they didn't want to give him some credit. Yeah, maybe they don't want to give him credit. I don't blame him. Bad guy. Can't say that. Can't say that. No place for that in the game. That's what I have to say.
Yeah. Great player.
Great player. No place for that language. Teoscar Hernandez, the other guy in the outfield, a fellow Dodger of Mookie Betts'. DH, I hate. Yordan Alvarez did not have a better year than Marcell Ozuna.
No.
Try me. Just not even close. Like Jordan is great. He has a great year every year. Marcell Ozuna was neck and neck with Shohei Ohtani for a lot of the year. And then obviously Shohei, the accolades, the stolen bases and such, obviously pulled him away. But Marcell Ozuna was there all year. Jordan was not. I didn't like that one at all. Your starting rotation in the All would be second team: Seth Lugo, the AL Cy Young finalist; Dylan Cease; Shota Imanaga, the rookie, the 30-year-old rookie for the Chicago Cubs; Framber Valdez, or as Colin would have immediately said, Stonehenge. His head looks like one of the heads at Stonehenge, or one of the rocks at Stonehenge. He looks like one of the Easter Island heads, which may be what he does say. He might say Easter Island. I can't remember. And then Michael King, also of the Padres. A lot of Padres in that second team, maybe due to their strong second half. And your relief pitchers, Mason Miller, and surprisingly to me, Kirby Yates of the Texas Rangers, a player that I'm seeing the Braves linked with right now. Again. Yes, again. Yes, Braves. Okay. Actually, I'm going to ask you this, Ethan, because I think you would actually have some good input on this. Do you think Travis d'Arnaud is Braves legend? It's so tough because I think
I will call him a Braves.
I would call him a Braves legend, but he's not a Braves legend.
Oh no.
But he had a ton of moments. But I think there's probably I'm not one of them, but I think there's Braves fans that would argue that Jorge Soler is more of a Braves legend than Travis d'Arnaud because of one series.
No, I agree. There's definitely people that say that.
Yeah, I don't think it's the case at all.
I think Travis d'Arnaud's a memorable guy. Everybody loves.
And he spent so much time here. I think that's the nice thing.
Never left.
Never left.
Like he stayed here his whole time.
He leave
and then come back.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's
a Braves legend for this decade.
Exactly.
Like this stint.
Yes, he is like this recent run for the Braves. He's a Braves legend for.
He's after Tyler Flowers' era.
Yeah, which he might have had an overlap with Flowers.
No, because it was Brian McCann, Tyler Flowers.
That's right. And then McCann retired. Flowers, I think, just kind of faded out of existence.
And William Contreras.
Yeah, but just to give Tyler Flowers some credit, he does have maybe the most popular catching and umpiring mask out there. Because he was him and his team invented the spring-loaded masks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those masks that say TF up on the top on the forehead, that's Tyler Flowers. He helped design those.
That's crazy.
Yeah, pretty insane. It's like super popular mask for umpires as well. Very cool. Shout out Tyler Flowers, legend. He lived. He's kind of local to us. Yeah, Kirby Yates is somehow how we got there. Yeah, that's your all MLB teams. The main things, like I said, I had a gripe with is not a fan of Lugo not making the first team over Corbin Burns. I think he should have. I think Marcell should have been DH over Teoscar, and I think Jarren Duran should have made first team. Mookie should have been second team. If you had a utility spot, sure, it can go to Mookie. It's, I guess, the Dodgers cop out, considering they're going to put him in the infield again this year, and then probably move him right back to right field unless they get Juan Soto. Okay, let's talk about a couple of the awards that have already been settled. We've got let's see. Obviously, the Hank Aaron Award just is for the batting title, which is Shohei and Aaron Judge, who are likely your MVP winners, but your Platinum Glove winners, I'll go ahead and just shout them out. Cal Raleigh and Bryce Terang. Yeah, shout out Cal Raleigh. Look, nothing better than a Knowles catcher. Okay, me and Ethan had a conversation about this award. Why the fuck is there an outstanding DH award? If you were an outstanding DH, you can get your Silver Slugger. You could get the Platinum. You're not Platinum Glove. You can be the Silver Slugger. You could make the All MLB first team. All these different things. You could win MVP. Shohei. Why do we need a special award for them?
Because every single position has their brand
ambassador. I don't get why that one's up. I don't. It's from the MLB. Is all it says. It's just the Edgar Martinez Outstanding Designated Hitter Award. Why do we need that now that it's a universal award? Makes no sense. Comeback player of the year. National League, Chris Sale. American League, Garrett Crochet. Duh. Pretty obvious for both of those. Relievers of the year, the two guys that made the first team. Emmanuel Clase, Ryan Helsley. Duh. Executive of the year goes to Matt Arnold, the GM for the Brewers, which Milwaukee had a 93-win season after losing their head coach and a number of players to free agency. That's why. They traded their ace. They lost their manager to a division rival, and they won 93 games. So, yeah, shout out to Matt Arnold and the Brewers. We'll see what they do next year because they're losing more players. Oh, man. Who is that? Is that Hassan Haskin? Who is that?
I think we got him down.
What even happened? Oh, it was a fumble.
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought it was a run.
I think we got him down.
T. Higgins?
Yeah. I don't think that was a fumble.
Okay. Interesting. Weird celebration. Zach Taylor certainly not happy about whatever it was called. They didn't call it a touchdown. So I think Zach Taylor wanted a flag.
Yeah.
Definitely down. Maybe a flag?
I don't think that's late enough.
I don't know. They called that flag in the Falcons game. That one was so bad.
That one was closer to that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You don't need to leave with your shoulder like that. I'll say that. I love Derwin James.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, go Knowles. But probably didn't need to leave with the shoulder like that. Okay, so the awards that you'll be finding out about this week. Monday night, you've got Rookie of the Year. Tuesday night, so November 19th, is Manager of the Year. So Rookie of the Year in the American League, your finalists are Colton Cowser, Luis Hill, and Austin Wells. Who do you think's going to win that? I think it's Cowser, probably.
Probably. I feel like he was.
Yeah, Luis Hill just kind of fell off a little bit in the second half. Austin Wells sucks.
Yeah.
Like, he had a good year.
The rookies weren't like anything crazy.
Was there not a Red Sox rookie that was good? I feel like there was.
Maybe
I can't remember. I saw somebody complaining about it. Yeah, I definitely wasn't following the AL Rookie of the Year race because Colton Cowser was like, yeah, like what? The National League Rookie of the Year race was actually good. I'll give him that.
Yes,
because Jackson Chourio obviously isn't winning it, but he had a hell of a season.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson Merrill was one of the best players in the second half of the MLB. And Paul Skeens is a Cy Young finalist and obviously going to win this Rookie of the Year award, whether I like it or not, because Jackson Merrill arguably should win it, but Paul Skeens is going to win it. Yeah. I don't know. I think Merrill has his case, and because Merrill was one of the best players on the best team in the second half of the season, and he put up ridiculous numbers.
But also, Paul Skeens plays for the Pirates, so it's just like, you can't be blaming him for not being on a good team.
Exactly. And it's harder for that case for rookies rather than like MVP. Yeah. If it was MVP, it'd be a little different. But yeah, Rookie of the Year, it's a little bit more about like you might just end up on whatever team, man. Sorry. Yeah. Don't worry, he won't be a Pirate for long. They're already fucking up that entire situation. Manager of the Year on Tuesday. Your finalists in the American League are AJ Hinch, Matt Quatraro, and Stephen Vogt. That's so obviously Stephen Vogt's award. I would like to shout myself out for calling Matt Quatraro at the beginning of the year. Me and Colin were super high on the Royals, as everybody knows.
Colin was very high.
Yeah, well, Colin was really high on the Royals, but Bobby Witt, not a bad take because he is a finalist, but not going to win it at all. Probably third place out of the three finalists. All right, National League Manager of the Year. You got Carlos Mendoza for the Mets, Pat Murphy for the Brewers, Mike Schilt for the Padres. It's either Mendoza or Murphy. I would probably say it's Pat Murphy. Just typically when Executive of the Year goes to somebody, the coach typically gets it too. If it's because it was a new coach. He's a new coach. He's going to get it. Mendoza certainly has his case too. He's a new coach too. But, I don't know. Cy Young, guys. That one's on Wednesday. American League, you got Lugo, Clase, and Skubal. It just couldn't be more of a free win for Tarek Skubal when you hear those finalists.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah, guaranteed. Bad. Tarek Skubal also obviously deserved it. It didn't matter who the hell even was close. Tarek Skubal had one of the most amazing seasons I've ever witnessed. National League, Cy Young, you've got Chris Sale, Paul Skeens, Zach Wheeler. It's going to Chris Sale. Paul Skeens, I would probably say second,
Yeah, I think he's over Wheeler.
then Zach Wheeler.
That's also just got
Yes, and the Phillies.
yeah, you know.
Well, he played for both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate both. So.
I hate every single team that's not the Braves. Yeah, actually, yeah. Let's
Yeah.
just say I was gonna say in the NL East, but no, all of them. American League MVP finalists. That one's the MVP comes out on Thursday. You got Bobby Witt, Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge. It's obviously going to Aaron Judge. Yeah. National League MVP. National League MVP. Your finalist is Shohei Ohtani. The other two are Francisco Lindor and Ketel Marte, but your one finalist is Shohei Ohtani because he is just so obviously going to win because he just had probably the best season in MLB history.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this 3 straight?
I believe it is 3 straight, but now he's switched leagues. Just is like, oh, I don't need the AL one anymore. Yeah. God, dude, he's just. Is he ever not going to win? Because now he's gonna be back to pitching next year.
He won in 23. He won in. I don't think he won in 22.
Did he not win AL? Oh no, because Judge won it because of the home runs.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, but now he doesn't have to compete with Judge.
Yeah, exactly.
They can just both go crazy.
Yeah, he only has to compete with him in the World Series, and we saw how that went.
Aaron Judge can't compete.
Yeah, and Shohei didn't have to do anything. He looked like shit. Yeah, yeah. Oh man. Okay, well that's all the awards that will happen. If you want to know the Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers, go look at that yourself. I'm not reading all that shit. All right, yeah, we'll wrap up the MLB right there. Obviously we'll be back later this week, me and Luke, and we'll talk any of the rumors or potentially signings. I'm sure there won't be any to talk about. But we'll start off college football, week 12. Like I said, for what was kind of a boring slate, we ended up getting a lot out of it. I'll say that. There was a lot of playoff implications being talked about. Maybe some loss or some wins that might come up in the conversations of seeding later. But we'll start off with number 1, Oregon, 16, Wisconsin, 13. Absolutely fucking dog shit performance from Dylan Gabriel. Say goodbye to the Heisman. You are so far out of this race now. 22 for 31, 218, no touchdowns and a pick in a 16-13 win over the Wisconsin Badgers, where you had to score 10 points in the fourth quarter to win. This was the worst game that Oregon has played whatsoever, and they are so lucky it came against an offense that is simply unable to play football. Like, Wisconsin is so bad. But Oregon pulled it out. I don't even know what else there is to say. Jordan James, Dylan Gabriel better have, like, sucked your dick after this game, dude. Jordan James carried your ass to victory here. He had like 120 and a touchdown. You need it. Yeah, 121 and a touchdown on 25 carries. You're so lucky you have Jordan James. And Evan Stewart had a great day as well. 10 receptions, 92 yards for him on the receiving game. Wisconsin, you tried. I'll give you the credit. You made them look bad for the first time this season. So I'll give them that credit. All right, we can kind of just roll through a couple of these games. Ohio State 31, Northwestern 7. Obviously, Ohio State always beats Northwestern. This one, Texas did struggle with them. Number 3, Texas 20, Arkansas 10. Not the best day we've seen from Ewers, not the best day we've seen from a couple of these guys, but Texas does pull it out. Still, horrible schedule for Texas this year. They have not played anybody. Number 4, Penn State 49, Purdue 10. That's what Purdue's for. That's really what they're for. Typically, they pull out one big upset in a season, but there's really nobody else left to upset. So, good luck, Purdue. You're 1-9, 0-7 in the Big Ten. Next game, a big one. Kansas 17, number 6, BYU 13. The worst offensive performance I've seen from BYU all season. They just couldn't get it going in the passing game. Jake Retzlaff, 18 for 28. 192, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I don't know what that means. I've seen it happen a couple of times where it just says the team attempted 1 pass. I don't know. I think that would probably be like a double pass or something. I have no idea.
Usually that just counts as some.
Yeah, I know. But it might just be because it's college. Sometimes those things are weird in college. Yeah, I just don't know what the hell this was from BYU. Just horrible, in and out. Both sides, really. The defense was not very good either. You gave up, Kansas was kind of consistently scoring. 7 in the first, kick a field goal in the second. Obviously, no points in the third, but then a touchdown in the fourth to end this game and lose is tremendously bad. I do have to shout out Devin Neal for absolutely carrying this team, at least in the red zone. 14 carries, 52 yards, 2 touchdowns for Devin Neal, and great defense from Kansas in that second half. Only giving up 3 points to a BYU team that has been killing teams all year and is previously now undefeated. Just shout out to the defense and shout out to Lance Leipold for coaching a hell of a second half. Your tie game 10-10 with an undefeated number 6 team in the nation. Kansas has been having an extremely underwhelming season this year. For Lance Leipold to get these guys together and especially going into the fourth quarter down 13-10 to come out, get a 17-13 victory against an undefeated team was absolutely huge for Kansas. So shout out to Lance Leipold. Let's move on to the biggest matchup of the week. Number 7, Tennessee, 17. Number 12, Georgia, 31. I'm sorry, Josh Heupel. I have to do it. I said that I would do it on the College Football Show. If you guys lost again, especially big, I have to start the narrative. Josh Heupel can't beat Kirby Smart. It's over. I'm sorry. I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, but now it's 4 times, and all 4 times you've lost by 14 or more points. You can't get away with it. I'm sorry. Carson Beck, make the graphic. Carson Beck, competent. That's about as good as I'll get with this performance. 25 for 40, 347, 2 touchdowns. I would say that's a great stat line. He started off the game 4 for 12, and he looked like dog shit in the whole first quarter. Luckily, he bounced back. He looked great. No interceptions, which is the most surprising number of the day. On the other side in the quarterback matchup, Nico Iamaleava probably wishes he didn't clear that concussion because he was getting fucking chased around the field all day. He got lit up a couple of times. Bad, dude. He was struggling. The offensive line was struggling too. The Georgia defense came correct, especially in that second half. To not give up a point when you went in to the half tied 17-17, to score to score 14 unanswered points in that second half was absolutely massive for Georgia. You got to give it up as well. Georgia did a great job on the offensive line, stopping this Tennessee defensive line that has stopped for nobody. All year, nobody could stop this Tennessee defensive line. Georgia stepped up. After a bad showing last week against Ole Miss, they step up, they look good against Tennessee, and they totally stop them. Did Tennessee have any sacks? We scroll down to the defense side. Go all the way to the bottom of the defense as we can see. No, go right there. Yeah, 0 sacks. Meanwhile, Georgia sacked Nico 5 times. Brutal showing by Tennessee, really. They can't avoid just getting belt to ass by Georgia. I don't even know what it is. Like, it's kind of the same thing that Kirby Smart went through with Nick Saban. You can take your team to the highest of highs. You can have the best roster you've had in your whole tenure. You could win so many games, but when it comes down to it, you're always going to have to remember that one guy that you're going to play just about every year with Tennessee every year has your number. And so now Josh Heupel, every single year, is going to be loathing the month of November because he knows he's got to take on Kirby Smart. That's going to limit what Tennessee can do. It really, when your coach knows you can't beat this guy, you're limited. You get screwed. Kirby lucked out. He got to avoid Nick a couple times. He beat him. No, he didn't beat. Did he beat him in one natty? Or no, he lost that natty. Yeah, he beat him in one natty after losing the SEC championship game to him. Kirby, luckily, one time got a break from Nick Saban and beat him, and it was for a national championship. I don't think Josh Heupel is going to get that chance. Not with this team. Yeah, 2021 Georgia might be one of the best rosters we've seen in college football. So, that one you can certainly take with a grain of salt. And also, it's because Bryce Young can't win a championship. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but Josh Heupel, you better figure something out because you can't just lose to Kirby Smart every year and keep your job. Well, I guess Ryan Day loses to Michigan every year. He kept his job, but they'll win this year. All right, let's run through a couple more games. You got Virginia 14, number 8 Notre Dame 35. Congrats, you still played nobody. Number 7, or sorry, not number 7, Mercer. Mercer scored 7 against number 10 Alabama, who scored 52 points promptly. The next one I do like to talk about. We talk about them every week. Number 13 Boise State and Ashton Ginty, 42 points. San Jose State 21 points. Look, obviously you knew Boise State was going to win this game, but I saw this stat that got pulled up during this game, and it was unbelievable. So we've talked about quite a bit. I brought it up a lot on the college football show. If you haven't been watching Boise State play and you've just been looking at Ashton Ginty after these games, you would say, oh, well, 5 yards per carry is really good, but it's not like what he was doing at the beginning of the year. It's because they are stacking the box with unbelievable mass. Like it's unreal what teams are doing. So he went 32 carries, 159, 3 touchdowns. A Heisman performance by all standards, except those that are going to continuously suck the dick of Travis Hunter, who we will also be talking about today. But Ashton Ginty, they put up the stat, yards per rush by defenders in the box. So with 6 defenders in the box, he has 50 carries this season. He's getting 7.2 yards per carry. With 7 players in the box, he has 86 carries for 10.2 yards per carry. That is unbelievable. Your standard defensive setup, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be 7 players in the box, correctly? Correct?
I mean,
Usually
your 3 down linemen,
yeah,
4 backers, but that doesn't mean the 4 backers are always in the box, or you have 4 down linemen,
yeah,
2 back.
yeah.
Just depends.
But for the most part, even if you're scheming for the run, you're going to have 7 in the box.
Yeah, you're going to have 4 down, and
yeah,
maybe 2 over the top. So
okay.
A 5-minute box is your standard.
Yeah, and that's why he has 86 carries. But that's also his best yards per carry. Over 10 yards per carry with that many people in the box. You move up to 8 people in the box, 48 carries, still getting 7.9 yards per carry with 8 in the box. The astounding number, though, is that with 9 plus in the box, which you can't go much higher than 9, you can only have 11, and you're not putting 11 players in the box. With 9 plus players in the box, 23 carries, and they limit him to 2.2 yards per carry. So if you wanted to know how to stop Ashton Ginty, put 9 of your 11 players or more on defense in the box to stop the run. That's the only way to stop him. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And the thing is you can try and do that all you want, but Maddox Madsen will still throw the ball. He might be a miniature human being, but he'll still throw a touchdown on you, and that's what he did in this game. 22 for 30. Great day. Boise State rolls. Yeah, they spread out the ball very well. But these guys, defense had to step up in this game. They did. Offense certainly did their thing. Because, look, if you don't play well, you know that your teammate's Heisman is on the line. That's really how it goes right now for Boise State. So all this team is playing for Ashton to get his credit, but also you're still playing for your college football playoff spot. It's definitely not locked up. That group of 5 bid is a fierce competition no matter how you look at it. So shout out to Boise State for getting it done here. Run through a couple more games. You had Arizona State upsetting Kansas State. It's virtually ending Kansas State's chance at a Big 12 championship game. Arizona State 24, Kansas State 14. Shout out Cam Scatterbo. What a fucking animal. I love him so much. DJ Giddens also had a great game, but he lost. Utah 24, number 17, Colorado 49. Travis Hunter. Okay, that interception shouldn't be the holy shit, give him the Heisman moment of the season for Travis Hunter. He's done like 90 things cooler than that. Getting a deflection off of a pass he wasn't defending and then intercepting it. That's not even that cool. If I was standing where Travis Hunter was standing, I'm catching that ball too. That's what I'm saying. Travis Hunter, he makes catches on the offensive side that are way cooler. He's caught interceptions on the defensive side that are way cooler than that. Don't let that be the Heisman moment. It was not impressive. So I'll put that there. But and he had a fine day in the receiving game. He had like 98 yards, I think. But it's also, you can't say, oh, well, whatever, blah, 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 he sucks. Obviously, that's not the case. And because he's playing like 150 plays in a game, you can't really say anything bad about the guy. You also had number 18, Washington State. Their season's over. They lost 35-38 to New Mexico. That was a bad one. But I want to talk about this game. Number 19, Louisville. Your season is also over. 35, Stanford 38. And it all came down to an absolute disaster class by Louisville at the end of this game. Unbelievably bad offensive play calling with their final drive. The turnover down there. Absolutely unbelievably bad play calling on that final drive, followed up by some of the worst discipline I've seen by a defense. So you start out first down on Stanford's 45. Louisville's got the ball in a tie ball game, 35-35. 24 seconds on the clock. You probably need 15 more yards to feel secure about a field goal. That puts you at the 30-yard line. Then you're only attempting, what is that, a 46-yarder? 47 on the 30? If you get to the 30, 7, 8. Yeah, so we're talking about like a 48-yard field goal. But they really need 15 yards to feel comfortable if you're at the 45. 10 would do, and you'd be willing to do that. Well, here's how the sequence goes. Incomplete pass on 1st and 10. Incomplete pass on 2nd and 10. Incomplete pass on 3rd and 10. Timeout. 4th and 10. Incomplete pass. Turnover on downs. All of these passes going out of bounds. Well out of bounds, I will say. Like, not even looking at somebody. Okay? So Stanford gets the ball in a tie game on their own 45 with 10 seconds. So they need a considerable amount of field to kick a field goal to win this game. And you only got 10 seconds. They need a few big plays to set up this field goal. You have a 1-yard pass to the sideline with 4 seconds as he goes out. And Tayon Holloway is an idiot and commits an unsportsmanlike conduct. Like, you just can't do that right then. You can't do it anywhere. Obviously, it's a flag. But literally a tie ball game. All you have to do is just let him go out of bounds. Yeah. Let him go out of bounds, and they're probably not going to make a play in enough time to set themselves up for a field goal, even with one timeout. But they commit this unsportsmanlike conduct, which takes them all the way to Louisville's 39-yard line. That sets up a 57-yard field goal with 1 second on the clock. Louisville then jumps off sides, giving Stanford a 52-yard field goal that they promptly hit to win this game and totally stomp any hopes of Louisville having any bit of confidence at the end of the season. Unbelievably bad. What? Yeah, 52. But the fact that they even lined up the 57, why are you even trying to put pressure on this kicker? He's got all the pressure in the world. He's kicking in front of his home fans, which, albeit there wasn't a lot of them. But this guy has the moment of his season right here. And he had a 57-yarder field lined up. They weren't even close to snapping the ball when this guy ran off sides. Unbelievably bad work by Louisville right there. Last 2 games, just to bring up, number 23 Missouri 30, number 21 South Carolina 34. So South Carolina gets a win. Not impressive. Don't try. Okay, I'm kind of gonna sound like a broken record if you guys watch Unnecessary Roughness, but Brandon Walker said this perfectly. If you're a South Carolina fan, stop trying to say you deserve a spot in the playoff. You lost 3 games. You're out of the playoff. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. Dude, they believed in Spencer Rattler for 2 years. That's delusional.
Yeah. They are high on every single player on that goddamn team.
And look, there are good players on that team. But fuck, like, Missouri's not a good team. The Missouri team that you just beat, barely, by the way, 34-30, is not a good team. This is not the Missouri we saw last year, and we all know that. Yeah. They're both delusional. But South Carolina, if you think you have a shot at the playoffs, first of all, your losses are Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss. 3 great losses, except for the fact that LSU kind of stinks. They just lost to Florida.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, they got mollywopped by Alabama at home at night, which doesn't happen in Death Valley. Yeah, LSU, number 22, they scored 16. Florida won 27-16. That was the last game we were talking about. But yeah, South Carolina, if you think you have playoff hopes, check yourself in somewhere. You're out of your damn mind. And LSU, same goes for you. You guys now have 3 losses, and one of them's to Florida. So you're done too. Have fun in the Bad Boy Mowers Bowl or something. Maybe a Pop-Tart Bowl if you're lucky. Wouldn't it be great seeing Garrett Nussmeier and Kyron Lacey eating the Pop-Tart mascot? Yeah. Okay. That's enough for recapping Week 12. Let's talk about what I think the college football playoff rankings should look like for this week. Actually, Justin Herbert in the red zone. Misses. I don't know who that was. It looked like a fullback, maybe. Okay. College football playoff rankings predictions. I'll probably run through this kind of quickly. Oregon at 1. Duh. They're undefeated. They're the only undefeated Power 5 that has beaten an even okay team. So they obviously get number 1. Ohio State comes in at 2 for me. Penn State at 3 for me. I think Texas is bad. 10-point victory over Arkansas. You haven't beaten anybody this season. Your best win this season is still Vanderbilt, which is still embarrassing. And you kind of got exposed by Georgia. So I think Texas should be at 4. Penn State can be at 3. I don't really care that they're not going to play anybody else. They're just kind of lucky. Wow, what a stop on the goal line. I thought it was a touchdown as well, but hell of a stop by Cincinnati. Okay, number 5, I'll keep Indiana at 5. You got to beat somebody. And this weekend, you get a chance to. This coming weekend, you're playing Ohio State. So definitely a touchdown. 100%. Ooh. I don't know. He kind of got turned around right before the goal line. Yeah, they're not even going to challenge. Oh. Didn't get it that time either. Wow. What a goal line stand so far. What down is it? Shit. Okay, I'll continue this top 10 or top 12. I've got North Dakota. Jesus. Notre Dame. Got Notre Dame at 6. Look, I would love to put them lower because they haven't really beat any opponents of any value whatsoever. And they're just going to get to waltz in because they don't have to play a conference championship, so they just automatically are going to be here at 7 or 6 anyways. But they luck out. They do have to play Army this weekend, so we'll see what happens there. But Notre Dame comes in at 6. At 7, I've got Alabama. And this, I don't know how I feel about this stretch, but I've got 4 straight SEC teams. And in a row, they all beat the last one. Well, actually, Alabama didn't beat Ole Miss, but Alabama beat Georgia that falls below them. So Alabama, with their 2 losses, finds themselves at 6. And it does suck for Tennessee because I have Tennessee at the bottom of this 4. So it goes Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee. I hate that I have to do that to Tennessee because they're super confusing because Tennessee beat Bama. Bama beat Georgia, but Georgia beat Tennessee, and it was the most recent. And Tennessee really got exposed. Like, Alabama wasn't horrible against Tennessee. Tennessee was horrible against Georgia. And then, obviously, Georgia was really bad against Ole Miss. Ole Miss is ahead of them. So that brings me to BYU, who I have at 11. At 12, I have SMU. Boise State, I have at 13. I actually correctly predicted that Boise State would drop to 13 last week. Got that right. But I've got Boise State at 13. So Boise State would still kick SMU out. Oh, yeah. Touchdown. J.K. Dobbins went flying over the line. Big touchdown right there. That's going to make it a 21-6 game. That's crazy. If they make the extra point, of course. So, yeah, my first 3 out starts off SMU because they're at 12, but Boise State has that group of 5 bid. Then I have Miami at 13. I think they're just not impressive, and they fell victim to a bye week. And then Texas A&M also just really didn't have to do anything. I think they played some crumb bum team. Texas A&M's real test. You have to beat Texas in the final game of the season if you want to make the playoff. That's where Texas A&M lies. Yeah, I just it's really tough. I don't think there's anybody necessarily in contention outside of guys that are contending for that conference championship victory potentially. So, like, yes, there is a world where we see this unbelievable doomsday scenario where no SEC teams make it. Whatever. You can say that all you want. It's probably not going to happen. But there is a real scenario where, like, Colorado makes it in. But because they're lower ranked than Boise State gets that 4 seed. Colorado gets the 12 seed. Or, yeah, Boise State. Dude, that would be clutch. But also, I think Boise State would love to play at home. So if Boise State can end up,
Home game on the Smurf turf is insane.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Boise State almost,
People show out for them.
yeah, but I'm almost thinking that they want to move up in the rankings, but they don't want to be a top 4 conference champion because they don't want to play an extra game.
Hell no.
But you would like the home field advantage because if you go to a neutral site and you have to play Alabama, you're getting the break speed off you.
Yeah.
If you brought Alabama to Boise State, maybe it's a different story. But when you go to a neutral site, you're probably going to get thrashed by one of these top teams. Yeah, shout out Thrash. I've never even thought about that. Yeah. So that's my college football playoff rankings predictions for this week. We'll see what happens there. Real quick, I have Colin's beer bets. We already predetermined these. So Colin won it last week. I believe he swept me. I don't remember what the picks were, but I'm pretty sure he swept me, making me move to only up 2 at this point. I've been the worst picker in college football the past 3 weeks. I haven't won beer bets, I think, in 4 weeks straight now. College football show, last week, 0-3. This week, 1-2. And bad beats as well. Ohio State over. Nobody scored any points in the fourth quarter. We were a touchdown away. We just needed 1 touchdown in the whole fourth quarter. Nobody scored any points in the fourth quarter. We hit the over in North Texas and UTSA, which was awesome. But unfortunately, that was also my beer bet, and I took North Texas, and they got stomped. And then the other one was LSU, Florida, and I took LSU minus 4.5, which obviously did not go my way. What is this? Is this the touchdown? They're just showing the replay. Gotcha. Nice. So me and Colin determined the games this week for the beer bets. We have Ohio State versus Indiana, and I have Indiana because Colin got first pick on that game. He got Ohio State. I got first pick on the other 2. So in BYU versus Arizona State, I have Arizona State. I'm going with the Sun Devils. I have to. They're hot. I'm feeding the hot hand. And then in Vandy versus LSU, I've got the LSU Tigers. I don't know if I like that pick. We'll see how it goes. It's at LSU, which helps. Don't know what time of day, but it's at LSU, which is a big part of it. 2 o'clock. Probably 12 o'clock. Okay. That's the game. Let's talk about, however, the stats look real quick in this game before we sign off. Definitely a shorter episode when we don't have other people's input and anything to talk about. So, what are we at? Like an hour?
Hour 22.
I could live with that. I think the people would like a nice consumable hour 22.
Yeah. Get everything done.
Yeah, knocking everything out that we need to. So we've got 21-6.
I doubt any Bengals.
No. Chase Brown, fine. Yeah, let's talk about Lamar, Los Angeles. I don't know what the hell just happened to me. I said Lamar. Yeah, Justin Herbert, 7 for 8, 137, 2 touchdowns. Hell of a start for Herbo. He's also got 2 carries for 50 yards, along of 30. He had a 30-yard.
30.
Yeah, he had a 20-yard early in the game, and then he had a 30-yarder. J.K. Dobbins on his 3 carries has 4 yards, but one of them's for that touchdown we talked about. Will Dissly, his 29-yard touchdown, adds on with his 20-yard reception, 2 receptions, 49 yards and a touchdown. Quentin Johnson scoring himself a touchdown. It's probably like his 4th or 5th of the year. 2 receptions, 48 yards for him and a touchdown. Ladd McConkey's got a 20-yard reception. Darius Davis has a 14-yard reception. Yeah, Jamar hasn't done much. 4 receptions, 49 yards. T. Higgins, 3 receptions, 34, but he also got lit the fuck up. I don't know if he's going to return. He's probably questionable with a back injury, if I had to guess. Also, Ladd McConkey. Just saw this update. Ladd McConkey, questionable to return with a shoulder injury. So that could affect the Chargers offense as we go through this game. But we will sign off right here. So thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, if you enjoyed this episode, shout out Jamar Chase for that reception. If you enjoyed this episode, If you're on the podcast platforms, rate 5 stars, give us a follow. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you are subscribed. I love to look at the analytics, and there's one particular one that catches my eye, which is how many people are subscribed that are watching this episode. Well, last week's Monday episode, 90% of our viewers were not subscribed. I think I got to put that one on myself. I'm not reminding you guys enough. So, look, if you guys don't start subscribing more, I'm going to have to do pop-ups. I'm going to have to do I'm going to have to just every single time we change NFL games on a Monday, I'm going to go subscribe to the YouTube, and then we're going to move to the next game. And you don't want that, and I don't
Every
either.
time we say NFL, we're going to say subscribe after, so
Yeah, exactly.
NFL, you think subscribe to Second and Short.
Yeah, you guys are going to become Pavlov's dogs. I'm going to train you to subscribe to the YouTube and leave a like while you're here. Also, go ahead and comment. What do we think, Ethan? What should they comment?
Cardinals versus Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinal versus Cardinals. Cardinal takes down Cardinals. Also, your predictions for Thursday Night Football this week. And Monday Night Football, actually. Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football, Texans. Who's Thursday?
I don't know. We didn't talk about that today. I don't look at that stuff until later in the week. I don't want a predetermined idea. Well, while you're at this, while Ethan's looking this up, join the Second and Short subreddit, r/2ND A&D Short. You've got plenty of days, about 4 days now, that you can submit your questions for questions time for Thursday episode. Just submit them by about 4 o'clock on Thursday, and you can get them read and answered right here on Second and Short. What do we got Thursday Night Football? It's right there. Steelers, Browns. Ugh, yeah, definitely the Steelers. And, of course, follow us on Instagram. To stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Second and Short. Ethan, thank you for filling in this week for Nathan, and I guess technically for Colin as well. We're all hoping that Colin gets through all the things that have come up today. And with that being said, I will catch you guys on the College Football Show on Thursday, and then I will catch you again on Friday, and then right back here to recap NFL Week 12, College Football Week 13, and be ready because in a couple of weeks, we've got a live stream Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Stay tuned. All right. Oh, shit. All right. It is next week. How crazy is that? Well, stay tuned. I've got a lot of updates to give you guys, I guess. All right. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy all the sports. Watch the MLB Award announcements and stuff. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.